From the First World War to the modern day, fighter aircraft have dominated the battlefield from the skies. And within a century, aviation technology has evolved from wooden biplanes to supersonic stealth jets. Now, Top 10 will test, assess, and grade the most feared fighter aircraft in military history. Over the past century, dozens of aircraft have been designed and built to fight in the sky. But now, based on expert opinion, audience polls, and technical comparison, we've constructed a 5-point matrix that will rank the top 10 fighter aircraft of all time. When no one could predict the end of the Cold War, U.S. military brass ordered a replacement fighter for its impressive F-15s and F-16s, one capable of defeating any Soviet-built fighter. $20 years and $37 billion later, this aircraft edges into our list at number 10.
The FA-22 Raptor. Manufacturer Lockheed Martin. Power plant Pratt & Whitney F119 PW100. Top speed Mach 2.5. Armament 1 20mm cannon. 6 ARMRAAM and 2 AIM-9 Sidewinder missiles.
Despite its eye-watering cost, each aircraft coming in at a massive $200 million, the aircraft is predicted to be the deadliest fighter ever produced.
Every day in the skies over hostile territory, squadrons of FA-18s are on the prowl. This is the front line, where the FA-18 excels. Striking targets in support of troops on the ground and tracking the horizon for enemy fighters. These jets project power from thousands of feet in the air. And their reach extends to almost anywhere on the planet, because their home base is no ordinary airstrip. For the FA-18, home base is a floating runway churning the waters miles offshore. This is one of the United States' 12 aircraft carriers, a fully functional airport at sea. Even after striking targets and risking the threat of enemy fire, these FA-18 pilots can't rest until they bring their aircraft safely to a stop on board. A carrier air wing is made up of more than just fighter jets. Each of the 80-plus planes on board carries out a specific task. S-3 Vikings for refueling and sub-hunting. E-2C Hawkeyes for reconnaissance. EA-6B Prowlers for jamming enemy electronics. And HH-60 Seahawk helicopters for shuttling people and materials. All these aircraft and the carrier itself are focused on one objective: forward force projection. And the one plane best suited for that role is the FA-18. The FA-18 Hornet is a $38 million high-tech machine. It's the smallest plane on the carrier, just 56 feet long and 15 feet tall with a 40-foot wingspan. Its streamlined design is characterized by a long, narrow fuselage and side-by-side powerful twin engines. At 21,000 pounds, it weighs half as much as many other fighter jets, with an advanced composite airframe of aluminum, titanium, and steel. To fly one of these jets is to join the ranks of just over 1,000 active Navy and Marine Corps Hornet aviators. The journey to become a carrier-qualified FA-18 pilot begins thousands of miles away from hostile territory in the peaceful farmland of Central California. Naval Air Station Lemoore is the Navy's newest and largest master jet air station. The flat terrain and lack of neighbors makes Lemoore a perfect spot.
Talk about maneuvering out of control flight.
Here, aviators who have passed their basic flight training learn how to fly the FA-18. It's a mentally and physically challenging program. The newest class of trainees will undergo 300 hours of class work and at least 300 hours more in simulators and training aircraft before they can even step into the cockpit of an FA-18 jet. Lemoore's Flying Eagles of VFA 122 are among the best in the Navy when it comes to training elite aviators, preparing.
The battlefields of the future will be more dangerous than ever. In the 21st century, there will be threats to our freedom and security like never before. But will we be ready? Battles will be fought on land and sea, but they will not be won without supremacy in the air. Enter the incredible world.
For over 50 years, it was the hot rod of the skies, the fighter plane. The two superpowers of the world rolled the dice and pushed the boundaries of fighter technology, designing parasitic aircraft, flying saucers, and supersonic jets with speeds that redefined aviation history. Each power gambled their choice was the right one. Now, we'll get behind the cockpit of these aircraft, at the center of this epic battle between East and West, with world domination the prize. April 17th, 1952. For the first time since the defeat of the Nazis 7 years before, Russia is under heavy air attack. The planes penetrating Soviet airspace are from a secret reconnaissance squadron of the British Royal Air Force called the Special Duty Flight.
The aircraft had RAF markings, they had RAF crews, but the training and the aircraft themselves were supplied by the U.S. with the intention that they would be used to overfly the Soviet Union.
The Korean War is in full flow, and for the U.S. and Great Britain, the Soviet Union is a prime target for reconnaissance.
The legal justification for the overflights of the Soviet Union during the Korean War was that the Soviet Union was an unacknowledged co-combatant.
The RAF crews are led by a World War II bomber ace named Squadron Leader John Crampton. His mission is to take radar photographs of Soviet bomber bases.
And they were bouncing radar signals off the ground And then they were photographing the images that appeared on the radar screen inside the aircraft, because the radar return of a target would be very different in appearance from a photograph.
The U.S. provided the British with specially equipped planes, the North American RB-45 Tornado.
The American markings were erased, and also the American serial numbers. The funny thing is, no British markings whatsoever were put on, apart from the ordinary red, white and blue roundels. No British serial numbers, no squadron markings.
As Crampton's RAF Tornadoes sweep across the Russian sky, Soviet MiG pilots desperately try to get airborne to intercept them, but the British jets split up to confuse Soviet